All right, welcome to the Explainer. You know those massive, headache-inducing spreadsheets of government data that seem impossible to read? Well, we're taking one of the biggest ones today, the 2021 earnings report from Destatis, Germany's federal statistical office, and we're turning it into a clear, visual story. If you've ever wondered what these huge national statistics actually mean for your own wallet, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to break down exactly how Germany earns.
Let's be real, whenever we hear the phrase wage statistics, there's really only one question popping into our heads, right? Do I earn more or do I earn less than the average? It's just human nature to want to benchmark ourselves. But to get a true answer, we have to strip away all the noise and look at the real, structural baselines of the economy.
To keep things simple and avoid drowning in data, we're taking a quick macro to micro journey today. We'll hit the national average, the regional wage divide, high versus low-paying industries, and finally, full-time versus part-time work.
Okay, Section 1. The national average, our macro benchmark.
And here it is, the ultimate baseline, 23 euros and 71 cents. Just kind of lock that number in your head for a second. Whether you're pouring coffee, engineering car parts, or running a massive corporate fund, when you average out every single full-time and part-time worker across the country, it lands exactly at 23 euros and 71 cents an hour.
Now, definitions absolutely matter here. This 2371 gives us a completely standardized look at base pay. In German, it's called ohne Sonderzahlungen, which basically means without special payments. We are strictly talking about the baseline wage per hour worked, before taxes. No extra annual bonuses, no holiday pay, no special payouts. It's the cleanest metric we have for a true apples-to-apples comparison.
Moving right along to Section 2, the regional wage divide, because where you live really matters.
Look at the stark contrast we see across the country. We've got these darker, higher-earning states down in the west and the south, and then much lighter, lower-earning states out east. It's pretty wild how the geography tells an immediate story. Down south, in places like Bavaria or Baden-Württemberg, average hourly wages are coasting well over the 24 euro mark. But as you move east, the numbers drop significantly. It's basically decades of historical and economic context perfectly distilled into a modern wage gap.
To put this into perspective, let's look at the absolute extremes. If you're living up in the northern city-state of Hamburg, you're sitting nearly 3 euros above the national average at 26.58 an hour. Hessen, where Frankfurt is right on its heels at 25.74. But wow, if you look at the other side of the spectrum, working in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern drops you to just 19.02 an hour. That's more than 4 euros below the national average. That is a massive regional divergence in earning power for doing essentially the exact same hour of work.
So, Section 3, high versus low-paying industries. Let's talk about what you actually do.
Because, geography is only half the battle. When we look at the heavy hitters, finance and insurance are just towering over everyone else at an average of 32.50 an hour. The energy sector is holding its own too, sitting strong at 30.91. But then there's hospitality. Hotels, restaurants, they're sitting at a mere 14.22 an hour. Keep in mind, our national average was 23.71. Hospitality is trailing that benchmark by almost 10 full euros. Think about that for a second. Your choice of industry can literally more than double your hourly base wage, completely independent of your zip code. An 18 euro difference per hour between finance and hospitality? That means a restaurant worker has to grind for more than 2 full hours just to earn what a financial analyst makes in 60 minutes. It's a brilliant illustration of exactly how the market values different skill sets. Finally, Section 4, full-time versus part-time. It's time to look at how you work. When we isolate the type of employment contract, there is a very clear 4 euro wage penalty per hour for part-time workers. Full-timers are making an average of 24.56 an hour, while part-timers are down at 20.36. This is actually fascinating because it shows us that working part-time doesn't just mean fewer hours on your paycheck. It often means you're literally compensated at a lower rate for the hours you do work.
And this brings us to a totally unique category in the German labor market, marginal employment, or what most people just call mini-jobs. For these workers, who are often students, retirees, or people supplementing another income, the data actually stops tracking hourly wages and just reveals a very modest gross monthly average of 335 euros. They live in a completely different statistical bracket from our full-time averages.
So, wrapping this explainer up, it's pretty clear that your lifelong financial trajectory is never just a single, simple number. It's a whole matrix of overlapping layers. Whether you're making 19 euros at a part-time job in the East or 32 euros in a Western finance hub, everyone's navigating these same variables. The next time you see a headline shouting about the average wage, you really have to ask yourself, whose average are they actually talking about? And more importantly, based on your region, your industry, and your hours, where exactly do you fit into the German economic picture?